everybody, Rose here. Today we are going to do the placemat that will go with that crisscross coaster. Just filmed that, and I have, this is my pattern. I have not tested this, so, which seems to be a thing with me and you guys, is we just kind of like free ball it together, see how it goes. Yeah. I've never done a placemat, never wrote anything like it, so I was just testing things out. But I like circles. I will be more drawn to do things that are in a circular shape. So let's give this a go. All right. So what you're going to need today for this project is 2 shades of yarn. Again, I'm going to use this Sugar and Cream red. And to go with the coaster I just made, I'm going to stick with this forest and this, I love this cotton. Of course, you're going to need your standbys, tapestry, and snippers. And then we're going to work with a new hook, the J hook. Go get those things together. You can also have a stitch marker if you want to have that on hand. And then I will just meet you guys back here. Alrighty. So we're going to start this. We're doing the magic circle again. And we are going to chain 2. And in the circle, we are going to put 16 double crochets. We're going to yarn over, go in our hook, and go in our hole, pull through 2, pull through 2. There's our first double crochet. Stitch marker can go right there. And we are going to do this all the way around. And we will have a total of 16 double crochets at the end of this row. And I'll meet you there. It's kind of exciting, isn't it? I don't know how this is going to turn out, and neither do you, so I like it when we do things together like that. It's probably not very professional on my part, but I'm kind of a you go, I go kind of person, so this probably isn't the best situation for that, but you guys probably already getting to know me that I'm kind of quirky. Alrighty, so I've got my 16, and here's a little cheat. If you're looking at it, let me check myself. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Okay, yeah, I'm right. All right, so when you're looking at this, see how this is like, goes to the side and it's got this little loop right there? That's always going to be like the chain 2 or chain 3 or chain 1. And the first stitch that looks like a stitch is usually going to be your actual first stitch, unless you're counting that chain 2. So if we were going to be counting that, then we would be going under this loop. Or you can actually turn it and then stick your hook in there. But for the most part, I don't use them. So we're going to join to that first double crochet, and we have 16 double crochets. Now for round 2, we are going to chain 2, and right back in there, we're going to put 1 more double crochet. So we're going to call that 2 double crochets. And we're going to put 2 double crochets in each stitch around, and you should have 32 at the end of this row. There's technique, we'll call it 3 and 4. The next stitch, 5 and 6. And then just count all the way around until you have 32. And I'll meet you there. kind of exciting, maybe getting both of these videos out. I've been seeing, I've been getting a lot more subscribers, and I just want to take a moment to say thank you so much. I hope you find something that you're enjoying. All right, I'm on my last one. I'm going to go in that last one, and this should be I keep saying technically. This should be 32 stitches, so I'm going to go back and count. I'm going to count that chain 2 for now. So that's 1, 2, 32. I know it doesn't really matter because our plate's going to be covering it, but I'm going to go ahead and put in that slip stitch, I'm going to go ahead and put another one just like we did in the coaster. And this makes it 33 stitches. I'll skip that chain 2 and I'll go in the top of that double crochet there, and I will join, and we'll chain up. So for round 3, we're still increasing, and we're going to have a chain 2 to start, and then again we're putting another double crochet into where we joined. So we're going to say that's 2, and in the next one we're going to put 1 double crochet. The next stitch will be an increase of 2 double crochets, followed by, in the next stitch, 1 double crochet. So we're kind of doing that, I've said a million times, the standard increase is what I call it. And we're going to do 2 double crochets followed by 1, 2 double crochets followed by 1. And we're going to do that all the way around, and we will end up with 48. And I will meet you at the end of this row. Sometimes when it starts getting in these longer numbers, I do this. I'll do 1 and 2 followed by 3. Next one, 1 and 2 followed by 3. And so I'll just like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Helps me keep track of my increases. 1 and 2. Here I am. Looks like 2 stitches, so I'm going to do my last increase. 1 and 2 followed by 3. Again, I'm going to pull it apart, and I'm going to go ahead and do an extra one. Skip that chain 2, go into my first double crochet. And just to humor myself, I'm going to be counting my stitches every row. 48, 48. All right, now we're going to chain up another one. So we have a chain 2. We are starting row 4. And we're going to go from 48 to 64. And this pattern is going to look like we put a double crochet in that joining one. So that's 2. In the next 2 stitches, 1 double crochet, 1 double crochet. 1 double crochet, next stitch, 1 double crochet. Next stitch will be an increase, 1 and 2, followed by 1 double crochet, 1 double crochet, or is what I like to call 1 and 2, followed by number 3, number 4. Okay? So an increase followed by 1 double crochet, 1 double crochet, increase, 1 double crochet, 1 double crochet. Do that all the way around, and let's see if we end up with 64. Okay, coming up on my last set. So be 1 and 2, followed by 3 and 4. And again, I'm going to be doing that fake stitch or slip stitch. I'm going to add one in there, skip my chain 2, and go into the top of that first double crochet with the join. Chain 2. All right, I'm going to count this real quick. All right, 64. I had 48 in my head, and so when I got to 48, I was like, oh crap, and then I was like, okay, I'm okay. All right, so now we're going to do one more row of increase, and I will insert the number because I didn't write it down in my notes. So we're going to do another double crochet into that first join. We're going to say that's 2, and we're going to follow it, followed by 3 double crochets. So it's going to be an increase followed by 3 double crochets. There's 2, and then there's 3. Okay, using up 4 stitches. Okay, so the next one, we're going to do an increase, 1 and 2, followed by 3, next one 4, next one 5. And that is going to be our pattern. 1 and 2, followed by 3, 4, 5. 1 and 2, 3, 4, 5. And I will catch you at the end of this one. Okay, coming up on our last set. I'm going to do 1 and 2. 3, 4, 5. Again, I'm going to go into that fake stitch. This will be 81. Skip that chain 2 and join. Chain 1. And I'm going to do my finger fasten off. Oh, maybe you guys might want to see it too. Okay. It's like been the best trick, just putting your hands down and getting your project, you know, stretching it out a little bit, getting it to cooperate. And now for the fun part. We are going to do crisscrosses. Okay. Just to make our life a little easier, right where we joined, right there, we are just going to pull our second color through and tie that on. Because these are probably going to be washed, and you know, you don't want that to coming apart. Okay, I'm going to go into my join, and I'm going to pull up a loop, and I'm going to chain 1, chain 2, chain 3. And I'm going to get those tails, I'm going to move them over. And now what we're going to do is in between What does that look? Oh, okay. I lost myself. Okay, I'm back. Okay, in between this double crochet, we're going to do another double crochet. So we're going to yarn over, pull that apart if you need to, go in between there, shoot to the back, grab your yarn, pull it up. You're going to have 3 loops, and then you just finish your double crochet. Okay, so that's what that looks like. And then we're going to chain 1. Our first crisscross, we have a chain 1. Now on this placemat, we're going to skip 1 stitch and we're going to go to the next stitch. So we're going to yarn over, go into that second stitch and do a double crochet. Then, now in this stitch that we skipped, we're going to do our cross stitch. So we're going to yarn over, we're going to go back down into that stitch, go to the back, grab your yarn, pull it up. You got your 3 hoops. Let's finish our double crochet. The chain 1. Here's our second cross stitch. Again, we've used this one, so we're going to skip 1 and go to the second, and we're going to do a double crochet in there. And then we're going to yarn over, we're going to cross back to that stitch that we skipped, pull it up, 1, 2, 1, 2, then we'll add a chain 1. So we're using all the stitches, but we're not doing them as close like we did on the coaster. Next 2, we're going to skip 1, then you do your double crochet. Going to yarn over, go back to that stitch, and then you finish out your double crochet with a chain 1. Make sure you put a chain 1 in between all these cross stitches. And we're going to do this all the way around. Oops. And I will meet you back to show you how to join. Chain 1, next 2. It's like once you get the hang of it, it's like you can really start flying through. Sort of. Unless you're fumbly like me today. I find it a lot easier if I have this like laying down on something. And also another little tip I just caught myself doing is when you're doing your double crochet, especially on something that's like all wiggly and jiggly, I'm going to put my finger to hold the stitch, right? Go in there. And when I pull up, I'm going to move it up. And then if I need to, I'll move it up again to keep control of it. So you can move your fingers however you need to just to make it comfortable. This is just a little side information since I've got a ways to go here. I've got a history of migraines, and so I usually have to go. I'm not on medication anymore. I was able to stop that many, many years ago because I'm more aware of my triggers or whatnot. But I started getting another one that started last Thursday, and I couldn't quite shake it. And I called my chiropractor, but they were closed, so I had to go to another one. And I mean, wow, what a difference it makes. So just as a tip, if you're having migraines or even some nerve pain, you should probably, if you want to, you should check into a good chiropractor. I feel really bad, but I'm probably going to switch to this one. I love mine, but this guy's a little bit more quicker, especially when it comes to the neck adjustment. And I immediately felt it decrease right then. And now today, I don't have any migraine. Plus, this new clinic has other options that aren't available at my old one. And with our new insurance, it's going to be a lot cheaper. So I'll be able to go more often. Because grooming, it really takes a toll on you. Especially if you've seen me in any videos, you know it takes a toll. I can hear my husband out there like stirring things and, you know, tapping the spoon on the thing, and I'm like, oh, I'm thinking about food, I'm getting hungry. We're just keeping it simple this year. We're just doing rolls, crescent rolls, and probably a vegetable, and then we're just doing pot roast. It's just going to be the 4 of us, my 2 boys and my husband and me. So, and it's going to be the first time it was just the 4 of us in many years. I'm looking forward to it. Okay, so here we are. Okay, we've got that last stitch. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into that first stitch, and I'm going to do it there. Let's try this again. I'm going to go into this first stitch and do a double crochet. And then cross back to that stitch that we just missed, or that last stitch. That way we have no holes. Still do your chain 1. And then at the top, it's got that crooked one right there. I'm going to join right there. And then we are going to chain 3. And that's our first row. Whoa. That's our first row. God, I really like this green. Wish I would have had that when I did that. This is more of that brighter green. But I like those dark colors, so. All right, we're going to do another row. We're actually going to do 2 more rows. So I'm going to get you started because it's going to be pretty repetitive. Slight change on each row. So we've got our chain 3. And now we're going to yarn over, and in this space, right, here's that cross stitch in that space before, that's where we're going to be putting our stitches. We're not going in these top ones. You don't even have to think about that. Go in there and we're going to do our cross stitch. And then in this round, we're going to chain 2. Okay. Now look at your cross stitch. Okay, if you look at it, there's the top of it. There's the top of it. Here's that chain 1 space. So here's the top, here's the top, here's the chain 1. Top, top, chain 1. It's the top of these cross stitches that we're going to be putting our next cross stitch. I'm going to yarn over and I'm going to do my first double crochet. Pulling it out, and here's the top of that second of that cross stitch. So I'm going to yarn over, get my fingers to hold it for me. I'm going to poke it in there. And you kind of have to use your fingers to get those stitches around because that back side likes to come up. So we're just going to roll it back, and then we're going to do a double crochet. with a chain 2. Okay, let's do a couple more together. There's your cross stitch. Just looking at it, top here, top here. So I'm going to yarn over. And see, just even trying to do that, it wants to be weird, so I'm just going to hold my stitch, put my finger on that, give me some traction, and I'm going to go in there and I'm going to do a double crochet. And that wants to be a cluttered mess, so I'm just going to push it back, hold that, and then finish my double crochet. I'm going here, hold my finger, yarn over, go in there, and do my double crochet. Chain 2. When it starts getting these lacy, you kind of have to get your fingers to work together. So hold this, hold that, yarn over, go in there, hold it, finish my double crochet. Okay, pull that apart. Got my eyeball, got my finger, got my yarn, go. Chain 2. Okay, so just take it slow. We've got one more row, and it is kind of a lacy thing, so we just got to keep moving our fingers. We can't just whip through it as fast as we probably want. But I love the way it looked, and I'm excited to make some for Christmas. I think it'll look really nice. And if he wanted you to, you know, have it too, because I see a lot of placemats that are square. I actually have a set that was crocheted. I don't even know where I got it, but I've had it forever, and it's square. I don't know why I was trying to show you what a square is, but it's square, and it's got these poinsettias in the corner. And I've been wanting to redo them, probably just for nostalgia. Do you guys have anything like that? You know, maybe something somebody made or something you saw that's dated, vintage, that there's not really a pattern for anymore because it's just too old, that you kind of hold on to and want to like redo someday? I've got a few of those. All right, I'll stop yakking and I'll just let you get on with this, and I will meet you at the end. I'm laughing at myself because I totally just started like eavesdropping on my son and my husband talking out in the other room, and totally forgot that I was filming. I'm excited. It's getting close to being done. Sometimes these bigger projects are nice to do, but I don't think I'm the most patient person. Got my last cross stitch. I'm gonna go ahead and go in the top of those. Oops, wait, I forgot to do my chain 2. Okay. Chain. And then here. Don't forget my chain 2. And here we are back at the beginning. Here we go. So here's the chain 3. And here's the top of that first one. So we're going to go into this first one. But before we go in there, keep your eye on this top of that chain 3, because that's what we're going to finish our cross stitch with. Okay? So skip that chain 3 and go into that first double crochet with a join. I'm going to chain 3, and then we're going to go back. You can see it a little bit. It's this hoop right there. And I'm just going to pick up one of those loops. I'm not going to make it complicated on myself. So I'm going to yarn over, and then I'm going to do my double crochet. And then there's our cross stitch. So we did our chain 2, we skipped the chain 3, and kept an eye on that top of that chain 3, and then we joined to that second double crochet, and then we chain 3, and then we crossed back and joined to the top of that chain 3. Okay, now for this third and final row of these cross stitches. So we did our first cross stitch, and now we are going to chain 2. And we're going to be repeating the process. We're going to start with a double crochet right here. And we're going to cross back to the top of that and a chain 2. Go to that second one, cross back to the first. And we're going to do that all the way around. And now it's getting bigger. Try not to be too frustrated. It is kind of a little bit of a life form of itself, is it not? Just get your hands to keep pulling up on that yarn so that you can keep your yarn taut. And don't hesitate to just, before you yarn over, go ahead and put your finger up there to hold yourself in place. And I just keep this and I keep pulling it down. And chain 2 back, and then I will meet you at the end of this row. Laughing at my family out there. My husband and my 2 boys. It's just funny to listen to the way they interact together. Just the guy talking. I love these projects that we can do that I mean, I know we had to count this, but like doing all these cross stitches, I've not once counted how many of those I need or anything, you know, and especially going into the holidays, and we're trying to like push out projects. If I don't have to think, well, I say that I don't really like to overly think and count unless I have to. But especially right now when I've got like 100 different things I'm trying to make and do and whatever, it's nice just to like I said, I'm just eavesdropping on their conversations and just crocheting away. It's nice. I put my project, I'm going to show you. It's like hanging off, and I'm letting the weight of it also help me keep these stitches where I want them. Just an extra little bit. Let gravity work for us. Okay, last one. Chain 2. And again, I'm going to skip, I'm going to skip that chain 3, and I'm going to go into the top of that first double crochet with a slip stitch, chain 1, and we can fasten off. And you can leave as long as tail as you want, but I find even just doing my finger gauge, it's enough to sew it in. Okay, now probably don't want to see my lap. I just love the way that looks. Look at me working with cotton. Okay, now, last row. I'll get you started on this. Now, what we're going to do on this last row is right where we joined. Let's do the same thing. Let's just go in that hole, pull up that red yarn or color 1, and I'm going to tie mine on. I'm not going to do that crab stitch on this. We're going to keep it simple. So got my yarn set up. I'm going to get that red and green going in the direction I'm going. And I'm going to go back where I joined, and I'm going to do a single crochet. And in the chain 2 space, I'm just going in the space, I'm going to put 2 single crochets in there. So there's 1 and there's 2. In between that cross stitch again, I'm going to do 1 single crochet. I'm taking my tails with me. Okay. And in that chain 2 space, I'm going to put 2 single crochets. 1 and 2. And that's our pattern. In between that cross stitch, 1 single crochet. In this space, that chain 2 space, 2 single crochets. 1, 2 single crochets. So I'm going to count it as 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, and 3. Do that all the way around. And when we get back here, I'll show you how to join. There's 1, 2, and 3. Here we are. There's that joining, and I'm going to slip stitch into that first single crochet. Chain. I'm actually going to go ahead and chain 2. I'm going to do my finger gauge. Then I'm going to pull it down. And it does do this bit here, but like I said, when we just, it's almost too big for my table. But when we just stretch it all out. Look at that. Isn't that cool? Love that. All right, guys. Oh, well, we can make at least a few of these in a day if we can just work diligently. So we still have time to get this out. And I hope you love it. I love it. And I will just catch you guys in the next video. You guys take care and happy Thanksgiving. See you soon.